In you come on. Here we go. I don't know what it is about this car, but it gives me a really bad back, and I don't know why. I watched lots of reviews before I bought one of these cars, and I thought that they were just saying that the seats were uncomfortable, but I can't quite figure out why it gives me a bad back. I think it's the way I get into the car. I sort of like fall into it, and I think that it's going to not be as low as it actually is, or it's got very weird back support. But everyone's complained about these Aston Martin seats, and to be honest, I don't think they're that great, to be honest. I would change them if I could afford to. Firstly, some updates on this car. It's got an engine light on. It doesn't really matter. It's just a air vacuum pipes, and they are added for emissions, so it doesn't really matter. It's not affecting the engine. I've got being quoted about £1,800 a day's labour to get all of those pipes sorted, and all I'd be doing is paying for an engine light. I might also be able to get that done cheaper somewhere, but even if it's half that, I'm paying £900 for taking away a little bulb, which I can just plug in an OBD reader, clear it every time it comes on. It only comes on every couple of weeks, and that's that. Secondly, I think I've got an LED out on the rear indicator, or at least it's not out, it's just going. And there is a guy in Norwich who can fix that for £200 and also prevent the other one from going, and it is just moisture in the rear light that causes that. We're just going for a quick walk. He hasn't had his walk today, and it's almost the afternoon now. And it made me realise, like, I can't really take anybody with me in this car, or I don't have a car suitable which I enjoy driving, and I can take him. We can squeeze him in that back shelf if I do have a passenger, but for not very long. And I thought, you know what, I'll go on Auto Trader, I'll have a look to see what cars are available where, like, you can take a dog but also have fun, like an Audi RS4 or a Ferrari FF or Porsche Panamera GTS. And it made me realise, like, when does this stop? When will I be content with the cars that I've got? And I don't think the answer is ever. I don't think there's an end to it. And it made me realise, I wonder if other people do this too, where you've got the perfect car sat on the drive, or you've got a car sat on the drive, and you're sat scrolling Auto Trader, watching reviews of cars you don't own as if you're considering buying it, all because you've thought of a reason why the car you have is not suitable. Whether that's lack of storage space, whether it's not fast enough, whether it's not comfortable enough, whether it's not economical enough. Maybe you want to do track days, maybe you want to do 2 weeks away in Europe, and you start thinking of things that you can't do with the car, or why you want to upgrade, and just constantly tormenting yourself by watching these reviews, going on Auto Trader, following people on Instagram who own the cars that you're aspiring to have, and it's never ending. So I wanted to cover that topic because I think it's really interesting, and I'd be interested to hear your comments below on your experience of this. Because why does it happen? Firstly, we're overexposing ourselves to cars we don't own. Secondly, we're not driving the cars enough. I find that often people need an excuse to go out and drive their car, whether they're going somewhere, whether they're visiting friends or family, whether there's a car event on. We don't just take our life into our own hands and then decide, you know what, I'm going to drive somewhere today. I'm going to go to this pub that's 2 hours away, take some good roads, and come back. And every time you do it, I bet you have a great time. But for some reason, we just sit at home and wait to be invited somewhere, wait till there's an event on that you can go and take your car. You don't just use it. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is, firstly, you need to use your cars and put miles on them. We don't do that enough, which means we sit at home just overthinking things instead of going out there and realizing the car you've got's fantastic. It's the roads and the things that you do with the car that bring you the enjoyment, not the car itself. Which brings me on to the next point of, don't daily driver your special car. It's a mistake I made. I tried to daily drive the Alpine, it didn't work. You become too accustomed to the car, it become sort of immune to the car, where everything that makes it special kind of just goes away and you start taking it for granted. So buy the cheapest, even if it's £500, daily that car. So when you actually use your car, it's excitement, it's new, and that cheaper daily has kind of like cleansed your palate. And then you'll find that you enjoy your car more. So I'd rather do like an 80-20 split. 20% of your budget goes on your daily and 80% goes on your weekend car, your fun car. Then you will find you enjoy your car more. I've said it on this channel before that there is a rise in cars which are supposed to like do it all, like the BMW M3, the Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio, RS4s, that kind of thing, that you can use every day and have fun in, and they're fast. But it doesn't work. You get bored of them very quickly for the reasons that I've just mentioned. Also, don't finance your cars or buy a car you can't necessarily afford, because if you're watching this video, it means you get bored of your cars. And if you're tying yourself up for 3 to 4 years in that car, the final 2 years is just going to drive you insane. So just accept you're someone who changes your car often, and that's fine. But it means you have to be able to sell it. So don't buy a car from a main dealer that's going to they're going to have a huge margin, because in 2 years' time you're going to want to be able to sell that car for as close to what you bought it for as you possibly can. And don't buy a car which has had like specialist modifications or anything like that and pay a premium for those modifications, because you then have to find a buyer who also appreciates the modifications that have been made to that car, and that makes it very difficult to sell. And you might find that you have to wait a long time for someone else to come along and want the same car as you. So if you are going to change your car, make sure you can get out of that car and sell it when you need to. And do not buy a car that you cannot afford to put miles on it. Put miles on your car. If you can't and you're worried about the miles and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that trip because I'm keeping the miles off the car, you can't afford the car. So get a different car. You'll get way more pleasure having a worse car you can put miles on than a better car and more expensive car that you can't. You really don't want to buy a car for its capabilities either, because there is always a more capable car. So for example, if you bought a 987 Cayman S, there will always be the GT4. Buy a car for the character and because you enjoy driving it, not because of 0 to 60 times or Nürburgring times or just general lap times or how well it grips, because there's always going to be a better one. If you bought that 718 GT4, they brought out the GT4 RS. There's always going to be something else. So if you're someone who obsesses over the capabilities of the car, you're always going to be dissatisfied because there's always going to be the next thing. So buy a car for its character, how it makes you feel. and what you can do with it, more so than how capable a car is. And finally, a point I want to end on is the car you've got now is the best car, in the sense where how you feel right now about your car and how happy it makes you is as happy as the next car will make you. So people think, oh, when I've got this car, then I'll be happy. Or when I've got this car, then I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I'll go here and I'll do that. And it doesn't happen. If you're not doing it now with the car you've got, you're not ever going to do it. So therefore, go out there and use the car you have, even if it's a £500 Ford Fiesta. What you're doing with that car is the same as what you'd do and how you'd feel about it with the next car you're aiming for. So go out there, make arrangements to go on good drives, even if it's on your own, and enjoy the car you've got, because sitting at home thinking about what you don't have and how you're going to feel when you've upgraded is going to make you constantly miserable. So hope you've enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you've had experience with this as well, how it makes you feel, what you did about it, and I'll see you in the next video.